What's going on, guys? This is Mike with Chit Chat Gaming. We are here right now. We are getting ready to play one of my favorite games of all time. I'm a big fighting game fan, a big brawler fan. So Final Fight has definitely been one of my favorite games to play. More so co-op, arcade as well too. But, you know, I will tell you this right now. The ports from the arcade to the consoles did turn out pretty good. But I'm going to have to say that the Sega CD version here, the Mega Drive CD version, is definitely the best version that they came out with. It was the most closest to the arcade. It did include some things that the SNES version did not have. Of course, Nintendo had to tone it down a little bit, but they did include also co-op in this version as well too, as the original Final Fight on SNES when it came out did not have co-op. It also did not have Guy in it as well too. So this version does have Guy. It does indeed have Cody, and it has Hagar as well too, so Mayor Hagar. So like I said, there's some stages that were actually in this one too that was not available in the SNES version, and also a couple other characters I'll show you when we come upon those. One was Poison. It was actually not in the SNES version, mainly because of the attire she was wearing. So again, though, they had to definitely tone it down. Also, with the SNES version, only like 3 characters were allowed to be on the screen at the same time. This one didn't have as much as the arcade, but it definitely did have more than the SNES version as well too. So let's go ahead and let's jump into it here. I do have this game on normal. I'm normally pretty good at fighting games, especially brawlers. This game was kind of like the Double Dragon style of fighting to the Streets of Rage. I think what happened, of course, is that as always, they wanted to go ahead and bank off of what Double Dragon was doing, and they wanted to Capcom wanted to get in the fighting game, not fighting game, the brawling style, because this game was actually supposed to be a spin-off, I believe, of Street Fighter or something like that, if I remember correctly. So definitely interesting to see if this game turned into what it was. Alright, so of course Cody here, a known character. Cody is big now in the Street Fighter community, mainly for Street Fighter 5 and such as well too. So, but it's crazy to think. Come on, here we go. It's crazy to think how many of these characters were actually spin off into, actually were made cameos into other games as well too. I mean, like Mayor Hagar was actually, in Saturday Night Slam Masters, which is probably the best wrestling game on the SNES by far. They also made a sequel to the game as well, but he was in that game. They made several cameos as well too. Of course, Guy and Cody were actually in, like I said, Street Fighter. And Andor, I think his name was. It's actually, I think it's Hugo. That's what they named him. I believe it is. He was actually in it, as well as Poison and Street Fighter. So it's crazy to see all the different cameos. I mean, it's insane. There's probably a lot more out there I'm missing, so I do apologize for that. So again, though, a big fighting game fan. Streets of Rage and Final Fight are 2 of my favorite all-time fighters, or brawlers, I should say. If you're definitely into brawling games as well too, for the SNES, there is an actual Brawlers game. It's the Jellico Brawlers pack, or the Jellico Brawlers pack that Castlemania does have. It does include like 4, I believe 3 or 4 games on it, if I remember correctly. Definitely a lot of fun games on there as well too. So it's all a compilation on one actual cartridge for the SNES or for the Super NT or whatever clone console you have, the Retro Trio or what have you. So definitely, guys, let me know if this is your kind of game here, if you love Final Fight or not. I definitely love this game. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, this is probably the closest to the arcade version that was out there. I do have Final Fight 2. I do have the actual Famicom, Super Famicom version of the game. So I know that there was some different things in those as well too that they got away with versus the United States, the North American version of the game as well too. So I do enjoy playing that quite a bit on my Super NT. But Final Fight was kind of like, the game that kind of, in my opinion, introduced me, other than Double Dragon, it introduced me to fighters, or brawlers. I keep saying fighters, but more brawlers, I should say. As well as Streets of Rage. But Final Fight was always just such a blast to play on SNES. I didn't really get a chance to play it much here on the Sega CD, but once I did, I was like, yeah, this is definitely the closest thing to arcade that we're going to have. So, alright, come on. Again, I had this on normal, so Never played this game on hard. I don't know how I'd do, how I'd fare. I really love playing this game co-op. That's probably the best way to enjoy this. It's fun by itself. It gets repetitive, of course, but this game definitely is fun as a co-op as well too. That's definitely the way to play it, in my opinion. Get friends together, you know, get a friend or whatnot, and you know, just go all out on it. So I think me and my uncle have beaten. I'm pretty sure we've beaten all three. I believe. Of course, we've beaten all three Streets of Rage. We played the heck out of brawlers. So, but here's Poison. Poison was actually named something different, I believe it was, in the SNES version, and her it was a different character, I believe, because of the fact of her attire and stuff in some of this. So, and I think she was also transsexual, I believe it was. So I mean, you gotta think about it though, guys. Nintendo, you know, it's Nintendo, so they definitely don't want to cross any kind of lines. So they probably did the best they could to take out a lot of this. But there's Andor Jr., who I believe was in the Street Fighter series as well too. Well, I believe his name was, I believe it's Hugo. He's definitely a lot of different things as well too. But come on. I believe he was in the Alpha series. I believe Cody made his debut in Alpha 3, I think it was. And if you definitely want to get familiar with it, make sure you guys pick up that Street Fighter 30th anniversary bundle of that game. It's incredible. You get all 3 Alpha games in there as well too. So, but Cody's definitely a standout character. Kenny Omega actually played Cody in the more recent live action to kind of hype up Cody being in Street Fighter 5. So yeah, comparing this version to the SNES version is just night and day, in my personal opinion. The Sega CD did have a lot of great, and I died. I'm gonna go ahead and continue. We're gonna go ahead and go through it one more time here. I'll go ahead and use up my lives here, then we'll call it good. Just want to kind of, you know, like I said, just give you guys a little bit of backstory and tell you why I love this game, why I love brawlers and everything as well too, and definitely to show you guys some gameplay of the Sega CD version of this game, because it's not known, I guess I should say. It's not talked about as much as the SNES version of the game, but this is definitely the best console version of the game, in my personal opinion anyways. Let's get this thing here, stab him. But yeah, and I know, like I mentioned, this one does add a little more soundtrack to it. Of course, you're going to Sega CD, so you're going to get a better soundtrack than what you're going to get on the SNES as well. And I believe they did add some voiceover to this game at the beginning and at the end of the game as well too, versus, you know, just a strict, you know, this subtitles are the actual text of the SNES version as well. So all in all, this is definitely the definitive version of Final Fight, like I said, in my opinion. So come on, there we go. Beat up Axel there. Get a banana. Every fighting game or every brawling game always has like a turkey or a chicken or something as the meal. Man, I'm getting my butt whipped. This Andor is like, I think he's supposed to be like maybe a mimic of or some kind of version of portray homage maybe to Andre the Giant, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're paying respect to Andre. As we know, Mayor Hagar is a former pro wrestler, so very well could be a little homage to Andre the Giant here. Come on, man. But yeah, like I mentioned, this game is a lot of fun. You know, let me know down below here if this is a game that you enjoy. Final Fight, which one was your favorite series? Final Fight, Final Fight 1, Final Fight 2, Final Fight 3. You know, which version was your favorite? You know, the Sega CD version here, the SNES version. Obviously, the arcade is probably going to be the best, but you know, there could be a console version that's better as well too. There's also other games as well. Mighty, I think it was Mighty Final Fight. I think it was called. It was like the little, like kind of the parody version of with kids, I believe it was, or little guys. But didn't really play a whole lot of that. I do have it for the SNES, or no, for the NES, I believe it was. I'll double check. Can't remember which one it was for, but game is definitely a lot of fun. Really enjoy it. And like I mentioned, you know, beat 'em up, brawler type games are only, you know, they're repetitive, very repetitive. One of my favorites besides these games I forgot to, or failed to mention, was Die Hard Arcade, Dynamite Cop. Those are two great games for the Sega Saturn and the Sega Dreamcast. Like I said, just the beat 'em up games are just a lot of fun. Again, though, they're more enjoyable in co-op with somebody else, and that's one thing that the SNES version of this game failed to do, was to bring that co-op to the console from the port. And unfortunately, I'm a loser, so I don't have anybody to play with. I guess my kids could play with me when we do this stuff, but I'm not doing a video on that. So that's a great topic for a video, is to show my kids playing these style of games, because they make fun of me every time that I play these games, or any kind of old retro game on the SNES, the Genesis, or anything. There's like, you spent money on this, you bought this looks awful, and it's like, you just don't understand. You don't understand the retroness behind this. So these were great games back in our day. Come on. And I'm using the 6-button controller as well too, so unfortunately, you know, obviously the X, Y, and Z buttons don't do anything, but the A, B, C definitely are what you're going to be using. So like I mentioned, guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think, if you enjoyed this week's Retro Friday, and definitely make sure to let me know which one of these games is your favorite out of the Final Fight series. So once again, guys, this has been Mike with Chit Chat Gaming. I thank you for joining me, and as always, happy gaming.